Nope.
I was raised by a woman with the unlikely name of Countess Fatima O'Rourke. Some would claim the Countess wasn't really my mother, and technically, they would be right. I was adopted, after all. But when you get into the details of it all, they couldn't be more wrong. That woman, wretched, old, spiteful hag, was my mother in all the ways that count. So, there were tears when she died, of course. I had to take several moments when I held her eulogy, but staring down at her open casket resting bitch face seemed to help a little bit, so that's where I kept my gaze through most of it. The Countess was a cold-hearted, good-for-nothing excuse for a human being, I mumble. But I loved her. And it was true. It is true. She was heartless. Cold as an icicle shoved up a witch's tit. Human only by vague appearance. Her morbidly thin, crooked face, like something out of a Geiger painting or something. And her voice. Man, that voice. It was like someone dragging a cheese grater across barbed wire. Harsh, relentless, emotionless, but to the point. "So you're the girl," was her first words to me. "How utterly disappointing." She showed up at the police station out of the blue, demanding to have a look at the girl. Now, most people, white, old money privileged or not, could never pull shit like that. But the Countess could. She did whatever she pleased, and there wasn't a soul around stupid enough to try to stand in her way. "Who are you?" I asked. I knew who she was, of course. Everyone around these parts knew the Countess. "Don't be daft, girl," she said. "You know who I am." I nodded weakly, my gaze drawn to her sparkly shoes. So damn sparkly. Probably worth more than a medium-sized country's national budget, those damn shoes. She stuck a finger under my chin, forcing it upwards. "Collect your belongings," she said coldly. "You're coming with me." And that's all there was to it. From that day on, I was no longer Emma Fitzpatrick. I was Emma O'Rourke, the Countess's little pet project. I'm back at the eulogy now. The memory's still vivid, but fading rapidly as I dry my tears. "I remember the first time she hit me," I say. "Came out of fucking nowhere. Sorry, not sorry, Father." Father Henderson nods in my direction, a forced smile visiting his thin lips briefly. "She'd do that, you know? Wasn't abuse or anything, I guess. Just a slap across the face. Hardly even left a mark. But you knew you'd messed up, somehow, some way. And that was her true power. Instilling the fear of God, fear of Countess, deep in your heart." I was 13 years old. A little brat, really. But an orphan brat, given that the police had long since stopped looking for my missing parents. And you're not supposed to discipline orphans like that, I think. She didn't even care, though. I was in her house, under her care, and she made damn well sure I followed every last one of her ridiculous rules down to the detail. "Ow!" I whined. "What the hell was that for?" The slap was meek, low effort, more of a mistargeted high five against my chin than anything else. But it came from a grown-up, an adult, a countess. That shit hurts, you know, inside you. "Mind your language, girl," she spat. "And that was for this," she said. "And that was for this," she said, gesticulating toward my wrinkly-ass bedsheets. "Is this your idea of making a bed? If it is, your parents failed you more than I originally thought." "You take that back," I yelled. "I will do no such thing, girl," she grimaced sourly. "Now, get that bed sorted, post-haste. Aurorix never leaves so much as a single crumb behind to be scrutinized by our lessers." I didn't know it at the time. Still a daft brat by all intents and purposes, I suppose. But that was a sign of growing respect. She called me an Auroric. That was a huge deal, and it took me years to realize that. Back at the eulogy, I have to take one of my many moments. The flow of constant memories resurfacing proving a bit too much, resting open casket bitch face or not. She wasn't afraid of anyone, you know? I mumble into my handkerchief. Not even when my asshole uncle showed up on her doorstep, rifle at the ready, and everything, did she flinch. I hadn't seen my uncle for years, and I counted my blessings for that fact. He was a true asshole. Neck as fiery red as they come. Then one day, months after my parents' disappearance, he just shows up, demanding the Countess hand me over. "She's my fucking niece!" he yelled, the nauseating stench of cheap whiskey and menthol cigarettes seeping under the cracks of the front door. The Countess had closed it firmly behind her, and told me in no uncertain terms not to move a single muscle. So that's exactly what I did. "Legally speaking, perhaps," the Countess noted. "Spiritually, your species apart." "What the hell are you talking about?" my uncle protested wildly. "Spiritually? Hand the fucking girl over right now this moment, or I swear." He didn't need to complete the sentence, the rifle doing all the talking from that point on, I suspect. Still, the Countess didn't back down. I'm not sure if she even knew how to. "Get off my porch, you filthy hoodlum," I heard her say, "or you'll find my wrath vastly unproportional to your social standing." Minutes went by in dead silence. In my mind, I like to believe she somehow stared him down. She could do that, you know, a single stare, targeted and amplified, of which would force you to your knees. I remember vividly the violent sound of an engine revving and screeching tires as my uncle left the property. "Well then," the Countess said, closing the door behind her as she sauntered back in nonchalantly. "I don't think we'll be seeing any more of that unseemly character." The eulogy is a sad affair, I think to myself. Not just for obvious reasons, you know, a person's death, but because I know deep down that no one really cared for the Countess. They're all a bunch of damn leeches, here for public appearance, the promise of a quick payout, the free drinks at the door, nothing more. If they only knew. "She hated all of you, you know," I whisper, just low enough for most of them to miss it. "To her, you were ants. sheeps. Inconsequential amoebas she was forced to interact with. Especially you, Chief Monroe. She kept telling me how much she loathed you. I'm sorry. Chief Monroe, and by extension, the entire police force, were woefully incompetent, the Countess would tell me repeatedly. Not only are they unlikely to ever find your parents, she said, but they failed utterly in their task to find my little one too, all those years ago. I knew the Countess wasn't always some ancient dried-up spinster, that she was once married, had a little daughter, that she was happy. Unbelievable as that may seem given the now heartless, barbed wire mouth state of her. She was showing me how to properly care for her azaleas, and she must have noticed the tears streaming down my face. I don't know why I was crying exactly, but it would happen around garden flowers a lot, I knew that much. My Penelope deserved better, she said, a sudden, almost unnoticeable sadness carrying in her voice. That's why it's so important, Emma, she continued, that we rid ourselves of dependencies. There's only one person in this world you can trust, girl, and that person is yourself. The eulogy drags on. My handkerchief is soaking wet, and I can't hold back the tears. Not a single one of them dare meet my gaze, heads kept low in awkward silence. I hated her, you know. For years, I just couldn't fathom why she kept me around. The scoldings, the slaps, her cold, emotionless eyes. But then one night, a night just like the rest of them, nothing special about it, she decided to show me the truth. Emma, she demanded, dragging me out of bed. Get your wits about you, girl, and follow me. Don't say a word and stay behind me at all times. Knowing the Countess, I just nodded and shuffled behind her diligently, like some kind of strange, pajama-clad teenage girl soldier. What I'm about to show you can never leave these walls, she whispered in a hushed tone. And though it will raise many questions, I need you to remain patient. You will feel things. Hate, sadness, fear. Do not let them get the best of you. You are strong, girl, and it's about time you showed them that. I followed her down the stairs and into the study, a place I wasn't really allowed to be in. But I did sneak in there from time to time anyway, to marvel at the vast collection of first editions and play with the antique letter opener that kind of looked like a little ornate dagger. She stopped by her sizable mahogany desk, a gift from her late husband, and stood there silently, idly stroking the smooth surface for minutes. Normally, she started, her voice low, murmury. You'd expect some kind of hidden mechanism in a place like this. Pull on a book, turn a knob, something to that effect. She turned to face me, her gaze flickering unsteadily, like she wasn't sure what to say or do next. But in real life, things are exceedingly simple. Complicated on the surface, yes, but when you peel away all those layers, the remaining core is often a single, effortless truth. With a swift motion, she kicked aside the rug on the floor, revealing underneath what appeared to be an old trap door. Simple, she said. A lone, unassuming layer is sometimes all it takes. What's down there? I asked. She grabbed me by the shoulders with both hands. I've told you already, girl, she said, a cold stare into my eyes. Truth. Thank you for listening to part 1 of this 2-part epic story. If you enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe so you can be notified when part 2 goes live next week. If you cannot wait to see the ending and you want to read ahead, I will leave a link down below to the No Sleep post and to the author's Reddit page. Shout out to the author, Obscuratio. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Honestly, this is one of my favorite stories that I've read on this channel, and I'm super excited for you guys to hear the ending because the twists and turns, man, I did not see them coming, and I'm usually pretty good at seeing them coming. So yeah, be sure to check in next week and go show the author some love. Until next time, everybody, remember to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.